What's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist and today doing a Mermail deck profile. So I'm really excited to do this one for you guys because this deck is one of the most powerful water decks ever created that can make some incredible boards. So without further ado, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell there so you can become part of the notification squad, and definitely check the Patreon down in the description below for all those awesome rewards. So without further ado, let's get straight on into this. So first off, we're playing 3 copies of Nebtabis. Nebtabis is definitely a 3-of in the build because this card is one of the most powerful cards in the entire deck. You can actually send an Atlantean monster from your deck to the graveyard to add an Atlantean card from your deck to your hand, which is a great ability to be able to use, especially with your copy of Atlantean Dragoons. This card also has the ability, if it's sent to the graveyard, to activate a water monster's effect. You can actually target an Atlantean monster in your graveyard and special summon it, except another copy of this card. We then play 3 copies of Atlantean Dragoons. Dragoons is definitely a 3-of in the build because this card is actually insane. With the ability that when this card is sent to the graveyard to activate a water monster's effect, you can actually add a sea serpent type monster from your deck to your hand, except another copy of this card, and the reason this card is insane is it's not a once per turn. We then play 2 copies of Poseidra. Poseidra is definitely a 2-of in the build because this card is an amazing extender and a walking foolish burial with the ability to send one other water monster from your hand or face from the field to the graveyard to special summon this card from your hand. And if this card is normal or special summon, you can actually send an Atlantean or a Mermail monster from your deck to the graveyard and then target one card your opponent controls and return it back to the hand. We then play 3 copies of Abystius. Abystius is really good as a 3-of in the build because this card has the effect that you can discard one other water monster to the graveyard to special summon this card in your hand, and if it's summoned this way, you actually get to add a level 4 or lower Mermail monster from your deck to your hand. We then play 3 copies of Abyss Spike. Abyss Spike is really good as a 3-of in the deck because this card is a level 4 fish that actually works with our copy of our super ancient Deep Sea King. But this card also has the ability that when this card is normal or special summon, you can actually discard a water monster to the graveyard to actually add a level 3 water monster from your deck to your hand. We then play 3 copies of the Atlantean Spirit. Atlantean Spirit is definitely a 3-of in the build because this card actually helps us summon out level 7 monsters to our side of the field, and this card is always treated as a Mermail card. This card lets you tribute this card from your hand and an Atlantean or a Mermail monster from your hand or field to take a level 7 fish, sea serpent, or aqua monster from the deck and either add it to your hand or special summon it, which is a great effect to help you instantly get a monster out on your side of the field using this card's effect. We then play 3 copies of Mermail Shadow Squad. Shadow Squad is really good as a 3-of in the deck, and this card is just an extremely powerful card with the ability this card is always treated as an Atlantean card and has the effect you can discard a card to the graveyard and water monsters you currently control become level 7 until the end of the turn, making it very easy to help you step into rank 7 plays. Also, if this card is sent to the graveyard to activate a water monster's effect, you can special summon a level 4 or lower Atlantean or Mermail monster from your deck, except a copy of this card, which is a great ability just to help us get additional monsters out on our side of the field. We then play a single copy of Heavy Infantry. Heavy Infantry is great as a 1-of in the deck because this card gives us an additional normal summon and helps us pop cards on the field. We play a single copy of the Gluttonous Fish. Gluttonous Fish is really good as a 1-of in the deck because this card is a tuner that also works with our copy of our super ancient Deep Sea King, and this card is awesome to be able to summon because it is a tuner. We then play a single copy of the super ancient Deep Sea King. This card is insane in this build and such a powerful card, and has the ability once per turn you can discard a card to special summon as many level 4 lower fish monsters as possible from your deck, but they cannot declare an attack and their effects are negated. And when a card effect is activated that targets this card on the field, quick effect, you can actually tribute one of their fish monsters to negate the effect, and if you do, destroy that card. This card is awesome because it actually works with our copy of our Abyss Spike and our copy of our Gluttonous Fish to instantly get its 4 monsters out on our side of the field, plus our copy of our super ancient Deep Sea King to just swarm the board with all sorts of monsters so we can start going in for some insane synchro and XZ plays. We then play a single copy of Deep Sea Minstrel. Minstrel is crazy powerful in the deck. This card lets us look at our opponent's hand. You can discard this card and a water monster to actually look at your opponent's hand and banish a card from their hand face up into the end of this turn, which is a really cool ability to instantly grab the exact card you need off this card's effect. We then play a single copy of Morin Glacia. Morin Glacia is great as a one-of in the deck because this card actually helps you get rid of 2 cards out of your opponent's hand with the ability that if you have exactly 5 water monsters in your graveyard, you can special summon this card from your hand and then discard 2 random cards from your opponent's hand. And when you combine this card with your copy of Deep Sea Minstrel, you can actually get rid of 3 cards out of your opponent's hand at once, which is actually insane. We then play a single copy of an extremely spicy attack card, and that's going to be a single copy of 7 Colored Fish. 7 Colored Fish is an extremely weird card to see in this deck, I know, but this card is actually really good in this build because of an XZ monster we're actually playing. And the XZ monster is actually going to be the Magic Key Spirit. Now, the Magic Key Spirit can actually search this card from our deck to our hand with the ability, if this card is XZ summon, you can detach your material in this card to actually add a level 4 or higher normal monster from our deck or graveyard to our hand, which this card could actually be any level 4 or higher normal monster that's water that you can grab off your copy of your Magic Key Spirit, so you can actually detach your copy of Atlantean Dragoon to make Dragoon go off, so you can search out the exact card you need while also getting a card that can pay cost in the form of 7 Colored Fish. We then play 3 copies of Ash Blossom. Ash Blossom's definitely a 3-of build just to stop the opponent from touching the deck. We then play 3 copies of Molcharmy Fluros. Fluros is really good as a 3-of build to basically just help us draw cards in this build. We then play 3 copies of Perilia. Perilia is really good as a 3-of as well in this deck because this card just helps us draw cards, plus it's a water level 4 monster, which is awesome for this deck. So, that's it for the monsters, guys. Let's get into the spells. So for the spells, we're going to start with a single copy of 1 for 1. 1 for 1 is definitely a 1-of in the build. Just help us summon our copy of our Nebtabis to our side of the field, and it's really good in this deck. And let's see a copy of Abyss Sting. Abyss Sting is great in this deck as a 1-of as well because this card is searchable in the build off our Mermail King and has the ability you can actually special summon an Atlantean or a Mermail monster from your hand or graveyard, and if you do, equip it with this card. And if the equipped monster would be destroyed by battle of a card effect, you can actually send this card to the graveyard instead, which is a great effect to be able to use. So that's it for the spells, guys. Let's get into the traps. So for the traps, we're going to start with a single copy of Virtue Stream. Virtue Stream is great as a 1-of in the build. Basically just use this card as a searchable Icarus attack to let you target a fish, sea serpent, or aqua monster that you control and 2 cards your opponent control and destroy them. We then play 3 copies of Dominus Impulse. Dominus Impulse is great in this deck as a 3-of to basically just use this card to stop your opponent's special summons, but it does lock us out of using light, earth, and wind monsters for the rest of turn, or the rest of duel, which is not that big of a deal in this deck, so we're basically just playing water outside of Fluros, and you're usually activating Fluros first. We then play 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence. Infinite Impermanence is definitely a 3-of in the build to basically just use this card to stop your opponent's monster effects and also lock down entire columns of spells and traps. So, that's it for the main deck, guys. Let's get into the extra deck. So for the extra deck, we're going to start off with 2 copies of Poseidra Abyss. Poseidra Abyss is one of my favorite XZ monsters in this entire deck because this card is a game-ending card, with the ability that once per turn you can also XZ summon this card by using an Atlantean or a Mermail XZ monster that you control, and you transfer all the materials from that monster to this card. This card also has the ability you can detach 2 materials from this card and then send a water monster from your hand or deck to the graveyard to return up to 3 cards your opponent controls back to the hand, which is a broken ability just to help you bounce multiple cards off the field. This card also has the effect that if this XZ summon card is sent to the graveyard, you actually have the ability to discard 1 card to the grave and then special summon 3 level 3 or lower fish, aqua, and sea serpent monsters from your hand and or grave. We may assume a copy of Abystrite. Abystrite is really good as a 1-of in the deck because this card gives us a little bit of a boost with the effect that water monsters that you control gain 300 attack and defense for each material attached to this card, which you usually will have 2, giving you a 600 attack point boost. This card also has the effect that if it's XZ summon, you can actually target a level 7 or lower fish, sea serpent, or aqua monster in the graveyard and special summon it. And let's see a copy of Mermail Atlantean. Atlantean is one of my favorite ultimate rares in the entire game. And this card is an insane floodgate that while this card has XZ materials, face up level 5 or higher monsters cannot attack, and once per turn during either player's turn, you can detach an XZ material from this card to negate the effects of all face-up monsters your opponent currently controls that has less attack than this card. We then play a single copy of the Magic Key Spirit. Magic Key Spirit is great in this deck as a 1-of because this card has an awesome effect that if it's XZ summon, you can detach material in this card and then add a level 4 or higher normal monster from your deck or graveyard to your hand, which we're always using with our copy of 7 colored fish to be able to grab that card from our deck to our hand or our graveyard to our hand and detach our copy of Atlantean Dragoons off our copy of our Spirit so we can actually activate the effect of Atlantean Dragoons to be able to get the exact search that we need. Play a single copy of number 4. Number 4 is great to help us pop monsters on the field and just do a little bit of burn damage to the opponent and also turn everything on the field into a water monster. Then play a single copy of Virtue Dragon. Virtue Dragon is great because this card actually searches from our deck to our hand Virtue Stream to basically search us an Icarus attack in this deck. Let me see a copy of Sword Soul Supreme Sovereign. Sword Soul Supreme Sovereign is great in this deck as a 1-of because it gets absolutely massive depending on the amount of cards that are banished and drops the opponent's attack points down, which is really, really good. Let me see a copy of Trishula. Trishula is awesome in the deck as a 1-of just to basically use this card to banish multiple cards, and it's just a really awesome 1-of. With my single copy of Monoceros. Monoceros is basically a walking monster reborn that when this card is synchro summoned, you can actually target a fish monster in your graveyard and special summon it, but it cannot attack this turn. With my single copy of Prima Donna. Prima Donna is great because this card is actually a tuner. With my single copy of Porpoise. Porpoise is great in this deck as a 1-of as well because if this card is synchro summoned, you can special summon a level 4 or lower fish monster from your hand or graveyard in defense position. Then you can special summon a monster with the same name from your graveyard, which is a pretty interesting effect. With my single copy of Neptibus. Neptibus is great as the Mermail King because this card is actually insane. With the ability that your opponent cannot target water monsters, this card points to with card effects, and also if a water monster is sent to the graveyard to activate a card or effect, you can actually take a copy of an Abyss equip spell from your deck or graveyard and either add it to your hand or equip it to this card, which is great to be able to work with your copy of our Abyss Sting. We have a single copy of Coral Anemone. Coral Anemone is also a walking monster born in this deck. You can finally play a single copy of the other Mermail Link monster. This card is just really good as a 1-of in the build and just a great option in this deck. So, that's it for the deck, guys. I would enjoy this deck. Is super fun to be able to play. If you guys have never played a Mermail deck before, you should definitely give this deck a try. It's just so fun to be able to play and combo into some really insane plays in this build. It's absolutely crazy how easy it is to be able to just make an insane board and use cards like Moral Glacia and your copies of your Minstrel to be able to just take cards out of your opponent's hand and then make a crazy powerful board. So, that's going to be this one, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell and there's some bar notification squad, and see you guys in the next video. See you later, guys.